Hello everyone. I'm Anne Charpentier from Skinobs, and I'm really thrilled to welcome you today to this webinar. This webinar is dedicated to the testing trends of in-cosmetics global in Amsterdam this year. And I'm delighted to welcome people from several companies, organizations involved in testing. Mrs. Lorena Belas from Zurco, Mrs. Simone Paladosa from Life Analytics, ABIC, Mr. Pedro Contreras from PhD Trials, and Oliver Woslev from Sequential, and Guido Mariotto from Miravex. Unfortunately, due to new energy breakdown in Spain and in Portugal that arrived in a few hours ago, I'm afraid that Pedro Contreras from PhD Trials and Lorena Belas from Zurco Research will not be able to speak today. This webinar is in replay format, and we will add the video of Mr. Contreras and Mrs. Belas that you will be able to see their presentation. Thank you very much. I will let the send to Simone Belladosia from Life Analytics, ABIC, to present the innovation and all the testing trends offered by this series. Thank you very much for your attention. Please note that you are able to ask your question in the little chat, and we will be able to answer you. I will check the questions. So after each presentation, if you like, you can ask your question and we can reply. And after the presentation, after my presentation, we will have also a Q&A session, so everyone can stay, and we will be pleased to answer all the questions you may have on this field. I will close this.
Okay.
So please, Simona.
Yes. So you can see my slides?
Not at all. Maybe Albert, you can close your camera, please.
Okay, you can see now?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for this invitation, and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for joining this brief webinar. I'm Simona Baldassa, and I am a biologist with a PhD in molecular and cellular biology. And I joined ABIC in late 2020 as a coordinator of the Laboratory of Microbiology, which is my mainly expertise. But now I'm an R&D manager in ABIC. ABIC is the business unit of cosmetics and medical devices of the Life Analytics groups, which is a group with over 30 laboratories all over Italy. We are mainly based in the north of Italy and also in Montreal in Canada. Today I will present you a very convenient and fast method in vitro based on a three-dimensional epidermis model system in vitro. This test is a powerful tool to screen for novel ingredients which may have an effect in reducing the expression of 5-alpha reductase, in particular type 1, which is mainly expressed in the skin. This is a family of enzymes which are involved in the metabolism of hormoid steroids. In particular, in the metabolism of testosterone, which is transformed in dihydrotestosterone, which is a more powerful hormone, which is able to bind a receptor that translocates in the nucleus of the cell, triggering the expression of different genes, which elicit the biological response. And these enzymes are very interesting because they are involved, the metabolism of DHT in particular, in at least two dermatological conditions, which are androgenetic alopecia and acne vulgaris. They are conditions, they are multifactorial conditions, but they have in common this metabolism of DHT, and they both affect also well-being, resulting in low self-esteem, psychological distress, in particular among younger people, even if they affect a large portion of the population. Androgenetic alopecia is the progressive hair loss due to the miniaturization of the hair follicle, while acne vulgaris is a condition linked to the inflammation due to the excessive production of sebum by the sebaceous glands. It is also involved a complex dysbiosis of the microbiota involving Cutibacterium acnes, in particular phenotype 1. And the DHD is one of the common mechanisms that are shared by these two dermatological conditions. So in our system, we present an in vitro system in which we use a in vitro reconstructed epidermis, which shows all markers and all layers of an in vivo epidermis. So it is a very good biological model. And we are able to stimulate epidermis with testosterone to increase the expression of the gene encoding for 5-alpha reductase type 1. And we can put these units on a semi-permeable membrane in which you have an exchange of the biological model with the medium in the bottom of the well. And you can treat with different ingredients or products in order to assess their ability to decrease the expression of this enzyme. And so you can proceed by extracting RNA and by performing quantitative real-time PCR, in which you have specific probes which amplify this gene, which is a gene encoding for 5-alpha reductase type 1. And then you calculate the time in which you have the signal goes by over a threshold, the fluorescent signal, and then you can compare this time with the time of an housekeeping gene, for example, beta-actin. And in this condition, you can normalize for the different extractions of RNA. Then you can compare the CT with a control, a negative control, and by a mathematical operation, you can calculate the fold change. And in this way, you can also use some positive controls. For example, we use saw palmetto, which is an extract from Serenoa repens, from the berry of this palm tree. And it is reported in the literature that this control inhibits the activity of these enzymes. But in our hands, it is also able to decrease the expression expression profile. So it is here a case study of a project developed for a customer of us. We have these probiotic strains, mainly belonging to the Lactobacillus genus, heat treated, and this ingredient is a very powerful ingredient with many characteristics for the cosmetic industry. And here we wanted just to focus on its ability to decrease the expression of this enzyme. You can see here that compared to negative control, testosterone treated epidermis show an increase of the expression of this enzyme, and this is inhibited by the positive control and also by this ingredient. So this ingredient may be a good candidate to formulate products with powerful in treating, in ameliorating, in improving these dermatological conditions such as alopecia and also acne vulgaris. So, in brief, we have seen a very important family of enzymes which are involved in the hormone metabolism, and they targeting the expression will be a powerful tool to treat dermatological conditions such as androgenetic alopecia and also acne. And we have presented a powerful tool in vitro to assay the ability of ingredients to decrease the expression induced by testosterone of this gene of family of enzymes. Thank you for your attention, and I'm available to answer your questions. Just writing in the link and explaining that the answer, the question is for Simona.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Simona, for your presentation. Because Pedro Contreras from PhD Trials and Guido Miriotto from Miravex and also Lorena Bellas from Zioco will not be able to attend this webinar today because of this energy shutdown. We will have a little bit more time than usual. If you have, yes?
It's Guido. I'm actually here.
Okay, you are here. Okay, that's great. Thank you for telling me. So
No problem.
we will have the presentation of Albert Dashi after, and after Guido from Miravex. And as I said, unfortunately, Pedro Contreras and Lorena Bellas will not be able to speak today. Don't hesitate to use the inbox, the chat, to ask your question. I will maybe we will keep the question for the end of the webinar. So maybe we will have more questions from the attendees. And thank you very much, Simona. I will welcome Albert Dashi from.
Before we join, can we ask question ourselves just to Simona regarding the presentation, or we keep this for later? Or can I ask?
Yes.
Very interesting. Thank you, Simona, for your presentation. I have a question regarding your 3D model on the skin. Have you successfully managed to? Because always when I see 3D model in the skin, I never see hair in a 3D model skin.
Yes, you're right.
So
it is a limit of this kind of model. For example, organoids are a more powerful tool in this sense. Yes.
Do you use this? Do you have this model, organoids?
Not yet, but we are approaching it with a collaboration, and it is a very powerful tool to go deeply inside the hair follicle and also sebaceous glands and so on. The test I presented is just a screening for novel, innovative ingredients, just to unveil performance and then to use them in formulations. Just a way of test the ability of ingredients. In this case, it was a probiotic, and so with a lot of characteristics, and they just wanted to see if also it was promising in this ability to
Yeah, and we could keep in touch because we have a lab in
yeah,
Singapore. Not
very
ourselves,
interesting.
collaborators that does organize very often. Maybe I can put in touch with you and then see what you can guys provide.
Yes, I was in Amsterdam and I followed your webinar and your seminar, and it was very, very interesting. So keep in touch.
Okay. Well,
Thank
it's
you
not
very
going to
much.
be something new here. I will just explain a bit more on that end. Okay, that's it for me in terms of the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simona. Thank you for your great presentation. And please stay until the end so we can have a panel discussion after all presentation. Albert, I will leave you the place for your presentation. Simona, can you shut off your camera? It's at the, yeah, exactly.
Okay, I just moved everything quick, so do not worry about what I'm seeing here. So, okay. You can all see this? All good? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Albert, Chief Scientific Officer at Sequential. And today we will present our mission in respect of our platform and testing that we offer for our clients, but also some interesting insight on how do we unlock the secrets of the microbiome and why is the microbiome important on the health and the skin health itself. We're all familiar on what a perceived skin barrier protected and healthy skin looks on the left side, and what a compromised skin barrier can look like. And the previous presentation, we see how things can become very, very, very severe with time if it's not taken care of it. Behind all this, we know that there is condition, physiological part, your own condition, genetic component, but also there is these invisible players that are the microbiome. These microorganisms that live on the surface of our skin, within our hair follicles. And when they are balanced and they are coexisting in a really nice environment, they can maintain and protect the health of the skin. And when they are in a disbalanced situation, everything can go a little bit more crazy and the health is not really maintained, and there's a disruption of the skin barrier, inflammation that is triggered within these microbes. They are critical to the human health. There are 1.6 trillion microorganisms that live on the surface of our skin, the largest organ. They are important because they have been there for a long time. They regulate the immune system, strengthen skin barrier, and accelerate wound healing, and many other physiological aspects, especially maintaining the skin pH. With time and urbanization, we have drastically changed the way we live. We used to live 2,000 years ago in more rural, low developed areas. And now with time, we have lived in a more bigger city, and we see that by 2050, 2/3 of the human population will be living in urban areas. And these new conditions are starting to pop up where back then didn't really exist. So acne, eczema, and psoriasis. With this, consumers have started to understand and searching more about the microbiome and the importance, and especially during the pandemic and after the pandemic has significantly boosted. This is just to show you people searching the term skin microbiome between 2024 and the present. You can see that there is a substantial increase of understanding of what the microbiome is. So consumers are also demanding science evidence-backed product. So there's a lot of product that are tested in vitro systems for microbiome, but they lack the whole human component. And that's why they want to understand what are the effects that this microbe have exactly, and how the product do change this product. With that, also researchers like ourselves, but any other institution, have started to research a bit more the skin microbiome and the bacteria and fungi that live on the skin to understand what is that they're doing and how are they maintaining the skin health, and when they are disrupted, what are the causes that can come out of it. In vivo data have become really important for formulation. back when you do some claims, claim substantiation, you are primarily focusing on testing on in vitro. However, the microbiome is such an important mechanism that works together with the host that you cannot really separate it from the host or the human component. You need to bring them both together. That's why more in vivo studies are needed. So we know how in vitro systems work, but to know if that translation is essential to do longitudinal studies over time on subjects and being able to measure all these microorganisms at the same time. The limitation in vitro is that you might be able to grow a few bacteria, a few fungi, but you cannot grow them all together at the same time. So the skin is a very interesting environment for them, so that there's different nutrient that they receive and they can grow. So what we need a large and high quality skin host molecular and microbiome data. To reach that, we need to first have a simple, consistent, and molecular skin collection system. Two, a multi-omics formulation testing platform. When I say multi-omics, it has to not only look at the microbiome, but looking as well at the human and having different type of detection technology to be able to come down to the answer. And together with this will then allow us to do more clinical study and find actionable insight. So sequentially, we have developed the simple skin patch that you can apply for 10 seconds. It yields a higher amount of DNA and materials compared to the swab. You can transport at room temperature, and we validate it with different clients. It's recognized by industry as the most established test. And the reason is because we can collect more material. You can see here a patch on the top. You see this violin plot showing you the distribution of samples. You can see that with the swab, there is more variability. So when you give the swab to people, they tend to really miss how they swab it, and it's really not standardized and consistent. With our patch, we can collect much more materials, but at the same time, we can use it in a different part of the body. The sequential skin patch can also outperform this tape for RNA collection, so we can collect the RNA component to do the measurements that we want from the RNA part. And also, when you compare to all the tape stripping, it causes less inflammation because at the end you need to apply it. It has an adhesive property, and we see that the Q-derm is causing more inflammation compared to the skin patch in terms of application. The second component is, together with this simple collection system, you want to be able to use different detection tools to answer the question around the microbiome of the host or how a formulation or a product really affect the skin. And in this, we have really combined the microbial and the human component, and we use targeted approach where we can measure microbes and quantify them individually. We can do a sequencing approach when we can measure a lot of bacteria to understand how they do on a global level. We can measure the activity of these bacteria, so how they are actually active, and I can show you a quick example later. And then measure the fungal component, but as well everything else. So here, fungi, viruses, and bacteria at the same time. When we speak about microbiome, a lot of people are only focused on the bacteria, but you can see that there are also fungi that are very important, and viruses that are very important. And we combine this microbiome composition, the understanding of bacteria and fungi and viruses, and how they correlate with the host, so the human component. So for this, then we extended our platform. We can measure SNPs, measure the risk of assessment of, predict the responsiveness of a product in a person. Metabolomics, measure the metabolites that are activated, the gene expression of the cells that are on the skin, protein profiling, understand how protein are up or down regulated, and as well lipids and how the lipid composition is before and after a certain product or certain formulation or treatment has been applied. To give you an example of activity versus presence, when people think about microbiome, they mostly think about the presence. So they use these technologies called metagenomics or 16S sequencing. And what it tells you, really, it tells you whether that bacteria is there or not. It doesn't tell you whether the activity is active. So when we combine and couple this with metatranscriptomics, which is on the right side, you can see which are the active genes and which are the active bacteria really doing the work, and which are the one more passive, dead, or inactive in this case. Here, an example, we took samples from the scalp and the skin. We did metagenomics on the top one and the metatranscriptomics, which is gene expression analysis of the bacteria and the fungi. You can see just an example here on the scalp that in red, you see the common Cutibacterium acne that is most abundant, so present, the DNA, but really the one that are more active are the Malassezia restricta, or the fungi that are more active in terms of gene expression. And the same thing with the cheek. You can see that the metagenome in green here is the Cutibacterium acne, but the most active one are actually the Malassezia species, so the fungi that are more active on the skin. And when you compare the scalp and the skin and you look at those genes that are upregulated or downregulated, even if it's the same bacteria or same fungi, so in this case, Malassezia restricta, you can see that the activity of genes is completely different. So it's the same guy, but in the cheek, you see more genes that are active for lipid metabolism. And then on the scalp, you see genes that are more active for peroxisome activity. Again, same microorganism in a different environment is doing different things. And ultimately, clinical studies and actionable insight. So when you combine together with those technology, we have expanded our skin, scalp, and vulva oral microbiome, and we can provide you our end-to-end solution where you consult the study, we recruit the candidates, and we do the whole analysis for you and report and claim support. We have now collected more than 25,000 clinical microbiome samples, and we are really pushing this to extend our AI meta-analysis where we can drive out more precision formulation, novel ingredients in development, and being able to really go down to the targeted approach where you fix the problems that you have. We have really collected ingredients and how different percentage influence the microbiome. You can hear as epidermidis, how they changes with percentage of certain preservatives and the effect that it has in the hydration and emulsifiers as well. You can see with time they go up, and some of them they're going down with chronometer measurements. So you can really combine these two together. It's a very, very powerful data to have so that we can provide more strong formulation solution for companies that come to us and really want to understand as well a bit more how these ingredients work. We have a lot of data where we can show how active behave compared to our negative control. You can see that they're completely clustered between the different two groups. You see a lot of dots here. There are different actives in different people. They behave in different way, and the control is separate from each other. We can understand how each ingredient is actually causing before and after the study is tested, how the diversity changes on the microbiome composition, and then we can really give you an interactive approach on how we can do this. Again, a simple, consistent molecular skin collection system paired with a multi-omics formulation testing platform and validated through a clinical study that deliver actionable insight is really our vision and platform that we can provide to you and for your testing solution. This is our founding team. We are based in 3 locations: Singapore, UK, and New York. And these are the people that we work with, and we are excited to share this testing platform. And this gives you a kind of an idea of how we're doing and how we can really promote and provide you and support you in different ways. And open to question. Am I still there?
I'm still here, Albert. It's Guido.
Hi, Guido.
Unless there's a, I don't know, a blackout in France as well now.
Hi, I'm here. I don't know if Anne is still on. I can see her still. Give it 1 second.
In the meantime, I don't know if there is any attendee question. I'm just going to look at here. Do I understand? Yeah.
I've asked her to unmute. I think she's having some trouble on her end. I can still see her in the studio, so we just have to wait.
Okay. Do you understand correctly that audience normally cannot directly ask question? Am I right?
Yes, yes, they can just type it in the attendee engagement box. Right. While we wait for Anne, do we just start with want to start with the next presentation, and we can keep the questions for after that?
Okay.
Okay.
I leave the room to Guido, I guess.
Yep. Just switch off. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Are you going to switch your camera on, Guido?
Yep. Hi.
Hi. Yes,
Hi,
I'm gonna go
everybody.
off now.
Okay, so let me just share. Okay. Okay, where's the share?
It should be on the bottom right.
I don't see it actually.
So, where you're operating your camera from? Do you see that bar at the bottom of the screen? There's mute, unmute. You have the camera,
Yeah.
and the third option
Okay,
is
here
start
it
and
is.
stop.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
right. Okay, yeah, thanks. Okay. And, all right. Okay. So can you see the
Yes.
it's
Yes.
on my screen? Yeah.
Visibility.
Okay. Right. Okay. So sorry for the hiccup. So nice to be here. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Guido Mariotto. I'm the CEO of Miravex Limited. I'm going to tell you a few words about the Antera 3D, which is the product that Miravex manufactures. We are a company based in Dublin, Ireland. We've been on the market since 2009. Since then, we've had many iterations of the mainly the software, which is now to the 3.14 version, actually. We serve the dermatology market as well as the cosmetic testing market. And this is the Antera 3D. Some of you might be familiar with the device. It's a 3D camera, so it's able to acquire full three-dimensional images. And that
Is on. Okay.
hello? Yep. That allows us to reconstruct the surface of the skin in three dimensions. So it's a very suitable camera to measure topographical features like texture of the skin, wrinkles, scars, both atrophic and hypertrophic scars, pores, etc. On top of that, because of the technology we used, we are also able to perform multispectral measurements. So that means that from the images, we can also analyze the concentration of melanin and hemoglobin. It also works as a colorimeter, so you would be able to measure the color of the skin in the LAB value, measure the skin type, the phototype of the skin. The device is precise, fast, easy to use, and it can be used for both on the face and the body. And this is just an example of how the image acquisition works. And then switching from the different channels, as we call them, showing pigmentation, redness, texture, etc., that can be displayed in the workspace. And by applying a region of interest, you're then able to measure a number of endpoints, like, for example, the melanin index. There's different features that help the users to acquire before and after images to make sure that the follow-up image and the baseline image are in a registry, so that you're always sure that you can compare the same areas on different images, like this example is showing. Even if there's rotation or shifts between the follow-up and the baseline, there's a software algorithm that will ensure that the region of interest is always in register. And it's also possible to acquire sets of images instead of single ones. So you can define templates for acquisition of the face or the body. And recently we have added also an accessory that it's a camera stand, and it allows to clamp the camera, and in this case the face of the subject is held in position by a chin rest and two rubber points. The camera can be positioned, there's 4 levels of controls, and in this case the images are actually acquired not by pressing the button on the camera body, but by pressing the enter key on the computer keyboard. This allows more control on the positioning of the camera with respect to the skin. Well, in this case, the face, because the stand has been designed for the face, and especially if there's different operators involved in the image acquisitions, the stand removes this variable, so it allows better repeatability of the measurements. And just this is an example of the report, but this is for example an example of several images displayed in different channels, namely color, pigmentation, redness, and texture on different areas of the skin. So the software is quite powerful in a sense that it allows the analysis of literally hundreds of images on different areas in different views or channels, and then it allows the export of the data to an Excel spreadsheet where data can be then easily analyzed. And then I'll spend just a few words to give some example of how it can be used for the evaluation of cosmetic products. This is a non-comprehensive list of some of the claims that the therapy can be used for. In terms of pigmentation as brown spots or anti-dark circles, redness, etc. So it is quite a versatile device. Since we've been in the market for 15 years, we have actually quite a comprehensive body of peer-reviewed publications on different topics that backs up the validation of the device. And then these are just some examples, courtesy of Biobasic Europe, one of the CROs in Italy, showing some possible applications. In this case, the pigmenting lightening product to show the improvement of pigmentation in the skin, and this just refers to a peer-reviewed paper showing exactly this application. In particular, this is related to Asian skin, and if we relate it to how the software works, this is an example of lentigos before and after. And now what we can see here is a measurement of the melanin index, which is very close, and the variation, which is how homogeneous the distribution of the pigmentation is. But there's another feature, which is a hyper concentration, where the software automatically segments the pigmented lesion, and then it displays the hyper concentration score and the area. So in the case of pigmented lesion, it's a very useful parameter. This is a similar example, but more related to hyperpigmentation, again in Asian skin, and this is an example of how these images would be analyzed in the Dentera software, so you can see the segmentation of the images. The second one is coming up now. So you can select a region of interest, including the pigmented lesion in the skin. And then once the region of interest has been selected, the software will segment the area and output the comparison. So in case of pigmentation, I mentioned here, I show an example also of eye bags that is also an area that is possible to analyze, and it seems to be quite popular in the cosmetic world. And there's many more, but I think I will just conclude here, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Guido, for your presentation. I'm sorry, I had a connection problem and I had to quit the workout studio and had to connect with my colleague connection. So thank you very much, Guido. I think there is no specific question at the moment regarding your presentation. I will start my presentation and then we will have a Q&A session and we can discuss together. I will present what are the today testing trends in Europe. So it will give a big panorama of what we have seen in Amsterdam. And I will compare this information to the trends in US and Asia, in Korea specifically, or in South America also. So I will share my screen with you. Tac. And then it starts again. I have, maybe some you can help me because I don't have now the... it's the system when in the bottom, at the bottom, I can share, but it disappeared.
Okay. Let's try again. So start and stop screen share.
I disconnect and connect again.
Can you make sure all your toggles on your left-hand side are open? So attendee engagement.
Yes, they are all open. They are all green.
Okay, so what happens when you click screen share?
I don't have the bar menu on the bottom to share my screen. And
so it's the third option that we worked on yesterday. What do you see beside camera?
Nothing. And so I will quick and come back. I think it will be better.
Okay, we'll take a break.
Is on. Okay. Okay, it's come again. I'm sorry. Yeah. This is I don't know. I can't understand why it's worked like that, but it's okay. I will share my presentation now.
Okay, that's fine.
Great. So first of all, I thank you. I thank you in Cosmetics Global for organizing this Boost Your Test zone inside the testing and lab zone in Cosmetics. It was the 7 times we had this opportunity, and thank you very much. We thanks a lot the sponsor of this Boost Your Test zone, Sequential PhD trials, Zurko, Miravex, validated claim support, and life analytics that these companies enables us to share all this information with you today. So my content will be around the testing and lab zone. I will present quickly what were the exhibitors, and I will present you the European beauty market and the key testing trends I found very important in Europe at the moment. So these are the exhibitors attending the in Cosmetics Global in Amsterdam. There were 72 companies, and we see here so we see here that most of them are providing preclinical and clinical testing. When I say preclinical, it's involve in vitro, in tubo, ex vivo test assays, and clinical testing. It's all the tests that are conducted on human. It can include consumer testing, neurosensory, biometeorological tests also. We see that testing CROs that only involved in preclinical, there were 17. Instrumentation were represented by 12 companies, and companies, CROs that only providing clinical testing were 5. And on the right, you can see the graph from last year in Paris. This is the distribution by localization. So mainly it's in Europe and in Asia, North America, South America, worldwide companies, because we see that there are big generalist analytical group like SGS or Eurofins or ALS, and they are providing tests worldwide. So we put this also in this graph. So what are the key numbers of the EU beauty market? The annual growth is 2.56 still, and it could be that until 2030, and the total market revenue represent 150 billions. And there is a big influence of TikTok because 89% of them purchase beauty product, and the online sales share is 43%. I will present you, so that's general information about the top 10 beauty brands, just to remember, and consumer expectations are directed to med spa, dermocosmetics. It's also the beauty and emotions. There is an increase of holistic inspiration in beauty, and there we can see that there is a simplicity and innovation balance in terms of product, and but products what consumer expected is scientific based product mainly. So this is a matrix I share every time we are attending a show in different place in the world. It was in India last time, and then in Asia, in Bangkok, in Korea, and in Brazil. And these circles represent the importance of each factor on the testing market. And in Europe, I will say that the beauty culture, it's the one that have the main impact on the testing market, because the regulation conference, yes, there are new testing mandatory testing for PFA, for example. But now for claim substantiation, it's not an old story, but it's everything is well known. The digital experience is still a big importance, and also in environmental changes. I will show you some barometer that we have constructed, and yeah, in Europe the environment changes are really impacting the testing and the beauty market, because consumers are looking really for sustainable products and keep the planet safe. So this is a claims barometer that is constructed from many influences, from publication we read, from scientific conferences we attend, also exchange with expert or consultants. And what we can see in the light blue is Europe, and we can see that moisturizing is still one of the main claim, and also longevity, inclusivity, climate, heat, humidity, and also complexion and radiance. This trend coming from Korea, and acne, blemishes, skin, and concern is very important. In terms of testing technology, what we can see is that in Europe, people are quite used to implement assays using complex skin models. Also connected diagnosis with connected on at home or not at home. And neuroscience is also very important, and we can see a lot of protocols that are using that are studying this neurosensory aspect of the beauty. Biomarkers and omics analysis, consumer testing is still very popular. The full face analysis, very used by the cosmetic brands to study the effect of products on the face. Ethical is important, scientific proof also, hair skinification, and photo before and after, it's not that important. This is a summary of what I said before. So I will go directly to the key testing trends. The first one is longevity, slow aging, and rejuvenating. It's also linked to the reverse aging, so everything about aging and senescence of the skin or of the hair. Then we'll see about the testing trends, soothing and sensitive skin, the neurosensory testing approach, the microbiome, and Oliver gave us a very interesting introduction to this field of testing, scalp and care, and hair skinification. So in Europe, what we see in the platform, you know that you have a free access as a expert, evaluation expert, if you are working ingredients maker or cosmetic brands. And in Europe, we have gathered for preclinical assays more than 1,000 meta, 200 providers, and to answer 143 claims. And regarding clinical evaluation, you will find more than 450 methods and 135 providers with the details and 200 claims. Just to remember, we organize every Tuesday webinar just to share with you tricks and good practice to know how to use the platform. So longevity, slow aging, and rejuvenating. Just to let you know, there were 1,666 ingredients that have been listed by In Cosmetic Global with this claim. So it's a lot, and also slow aging related facial skincare is really increasing. You can see it's more than 40% in 2024. And in terms of test, you can find specific methods that are analyzing the face overall and give you information about all the face. So we have the video face from Courage Kazaka, internal method developed specifically by PhD trials on color face and Eversurf with EOTech, the visa conflection and scan. And PhD validate claim on Zurko and Life Analytics are able to answer your question about this. And then we can also study the skin surface. Studying the skin surface, you will have a lot of information about anti-aging, anti-aging, anti-wrinkles, and all the topography, the sensitivity also, and the pigmentation. Because aging is a global phenomena, so you can study the skin the skin depth, but also the dark spot and the redness, also the wrinkles, topography, so everything. And Antera 3D, as Guido explained you just before, can give you a lot of information about this claim using the Antera 3D. For soothing and sensitive skin, this is the second trend we want to talk about. It's 940 products for soothing and anti-inflammatory that have been present at In Cosmetic Global. Products, I say, ingredients and active, and soothing and sensitive skin is a real has a big importance, I would say, in Europe, but also in Asia because of the pollution phenomena and this increase of unsensitive skin everywhere in the world. How we can study? We can study the barrier function and the skin surface with photo, with head scan, with video scan. For neurosensory, it's a really increasing market with 1.8 billions. This is the global market of neurocosmetics. But here we will speak not about the neurocosmetics product, but how we can study cosmetics and find effect with neurosensory method. So this is a complex and multiple and there are multiple approaches. You can find a lot of information and explanation if you go to the blog of Skinobs named Cosmetic Testing News. You can see a lot of articles, and we explain this neurosensory approach. You have the Emosome skin-brain link developed by PhD trial. You have also internal method because I will say that each CRO has his own way to build a protocol, but it should respect these three elements. The physiology, you have to study the physiological evaluation, the behavioral evaluation, and the physiological, because it's really you need to have these three approaches to study the multi-criteria of neurosensory and the perception and the feeling. Then you have Emospin, and also with a naive panel, online or not online, on trend panel, you can have a lot of information. So this is about the microbiome. You see that a lot of cosmetic brands are patented products that linked to microbiome, and Oliver gave you a very wide panorama of what it is possible looking at the microbiome. Normally, we can start with in vitro and microbiology, and to say, okay, we look at the cell level, and we looking at the microbial strain adhesion on the strain, we count the strain, and we can see the resistance on one of these microorganisms. This is the first approach. This is the cell level, and more than microbiome friendly, I will say it is more to respect the microbiota diversity. So it's very important to have a wide range of stains, and because if you have only one, it's difficult to say it was for everyone. And then after, on a molecular level, as the most important thing is the collection of the skin with swabbing and stripping, and most of these collection process are now patented, and you can have the information about the bacteria number of the major species. You can get the bacteria composition. So it's very important regarding the quantitative composition and the microbiome diversity. And then you can also quantify the function and interaction of your products with the microbiota and microbiome and the microbiome biofilm. And also, Courage Kazaka offer another way. It's in vivo, only focus on the Propionibacterium acnes with fluorescence technology. So this is the scalp and hair growth with a lot of products. And then I will go really fast because I think I'm a little bit late. So there are a lot of technique. You can go directly and consult the Skinobs platform and just select in vitro test on strand or in vivo, and you will get all the information about the instrumentation. And Zurko, life analytics and PhD trials can help you in that field. And also sequential, because they are also doing a test on the scalp. So here, that new innovation that we have seen in cosmetics, the EOTech and AIVA are offering a new software module for studying the skin topography and the micro-relief network. Antioxidant power, they are giving antioxidant activity. Glycodiac, they are expert of glycosions and microbiota. Innovancy with this alternative method with using coral cells, and lab skin they have a new human skin equivalent, and microbiome, they are offering 7 body areas of microbiome, also infant eczema, linked to eczema and acne. And Straticell, they have developed a specific human vaginal epithelium to study all new feminine healthcare products. So these are our next events. You can find us and you can meet us at Cosmetotest in May, in June in New York, in Korea, in September at the IFFCC. I'm very glad to share the news that we will have a poster with Pascal Barlier and Jean-Jacques Servan regarding home device panorama. So I will be thrilled to share that information later with you. And we will be at an Cosmetorium also in Cosmetic Asia, and you can find all news about testing trend in the next Zoom, in the Zoom 33. Thank you very much for your attention. I will come back to the connection and stop my share. So I saw that we had a question for you, Albert, regarding the collection on the scalp. Could you tell us about a little bit more about how you collect the scalp?
Yeah, I have two questions. One question was from Ranul, if I'm correctly. Emmanuel was asking about the scalp collection. Maybe I can ask first the scalp collection.
Okay.
So what we have done over the years, what we haven't launched the final scalp collection. We have collected the scalps in a three-way system, still with swabbing. However, we have also worked quite closely to improve that parts, and we will launch a new collection system that is not swab. We call it macro array collection system. We have not launched it yet, and that was not something we launched as well with the cosmetic. But really, stay tuned for the next step on that. We are still doing the swab as we are doing with the saliva. With the vaginal microbiome. But the unique technology that we have developed is on the patch side for the skin side. But yeah, stay tuned for the scalp very soon. And then I don't know if I want me to go straight to another question, which was referring to, if I am correctly, Runar was asking. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll.
Yeah, I think it was about the qPCR.
Yes. So she's asking. Maybe I can just phrase it correctly. I understand that you also do qPCR for a selection of microbes. Are they meant for quantitative assessment, and how you test them to see how they correlate with 16S shotgun sequencing? Yeah. So how we selected these qPCR markers is through an extensive shotgun sequencing in 16S data we collected over the years. Then we have found that the most abundant and significant change in microbes to really answer claim substantiation don't need to be necessarily sequenced, all of them, just the key markers that we know we substantiate significantly change. And we have found 20 of them that significantly correlate with shotgun sequencing. What I mean with significantly correlate is a 99% correlation where you take all the shotgun sequencing data and you correlate with the same sample with qPCR data. You can see that the measurements for diversity pretty much are the same with qPCR. And with qPCR, the advantage compared to 16S, for example, is that we can do absolute quantification. So we can absolute quantify how many bacteria and fungi genome copy numbers are in the skin at the time of collection. 16S sequencing and shotgun, sometimes they give you only relative abundance relative to the total. So to give you an example, if in this room we have 10 people, you see that if only there are 10 microorganisms and you remove one, or one is particularly abundant by 90%, it only tells you there is a 90%, but it could be just 9 microbes that are really there. So there's a difference between relative abundance and absolute abundance, and that's where we can do with qPCR.
Thank you very much, Albert. May I ask Guido and Simona to open their camera? Yeah. I think, Guido, you have a question about I saw this question and then this question was from Elisanda Gita, and I just read it for you. Maybe you can see it on the chat, Guido. Elisanda would like to know, for example, the analysis of the eye area. Thus, the user can make an approximation of the distance between the eye to the measurement points, or the analysis is performed only by draw the area of measurement. Guido, I'm sorry, your microphone is shut out.
Yeah, sorry. Where can I see the chat?
Yes, you go on the left and you see attendee engagement.
Yeah.
You click on to be
Okay,
green,
okay, yeah.
and then you can see it is 1, 2, 3. The third question.
Yes, okay. I'm not 100% sure what she means. Does the user can make an approximation of the distance between the eye to the measurement point? Well, if it's about measuring a distance between, say, 2 points around across the eye, that can be done both in the 2D space and the 3D. So it can be done by the software. So, for example, I'm not sure exactly, but if you want to measure, so say, for example, distance from the corner of the eye to this point, then you can measure both the distance in 2D, but also the 3D distance following the contour of the skin, which is not flat. If she wants to send, maybe a clarification, I can be of more help.
And there is another question. We can maybe Simona, you will be able to answer regarding the test trends for longevity and slow aging. Do you think is there are trends toward using modification of skin microbiome to develop aging-related claims? Maybe Albert, you can also answer. So, do you think we can modify the skin microbiome to develop specific to answer specific aging claims?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Is a quite often question that is asked. So what we have found in our data is the microbiome composition is very different between age groups. We saw that the strongest significant changes are over the age. When we look at pre-puberties, so children below age of 18, below age of 14, the microbiome composition is completely different. Then you look at the puberty, and then you have the 20, 25, 30 years old, and then you have the older demographic with 45 and above. Now, the microbiome composition goes hand in hand with the change of the terrain, so the skin. The skin with time changes, so the microbiome changes. Now, when people always ask me, like, can I have the younger microbiome? Can I reverse the microbiome so that I look younger? It's not healthy to do that way, because if you were to bring the same microbes that you have in a younger demographic, it will cause substantial damage into our older demographic. So what we've seen that there is some key markers that with age are going up and they are linked to sensitivity. For example, sensitivity scan can be applied to the younger demographic, can apply to the children, it can apply to the older demographic. but the microbiome composition are completely different. So we see C. croppensteindi to be very high on older demographic and associated and linked to sensitive skin because they produce some markers that are sensitive to the skin. Now, why is that the reason? Because that particular bacteria is not very abundant on the younger demographic. Younger demographic have C. acne, the most abundant one, because it goes hand in hand with the sebum production. So with the older demographic, you have less sebum production, and the sebum is a good food for C. acnes. So in terms of aging, you have to look at the population as itself. You cannot reverse it to something that is younger because you don't want to have that reverse. You need to manipulate the microbes that can support the health of that group age. And then when you look at kids below 14, for example, they don't have any C. acne at all. They have primary staphylococcus presence. They don't have C. acne because their sebaceous gland are not yet developed because they develop during puberty. Puberty, the hormone hit at 14, 15, 16 years old, and then they have this overproduction of sebum, and then C. acne that was there is somehow silent, now starts to grow really rapidly, and then you can see some adverse effect. In some individuals, it's transitory. People have pimple and acne for a period of time, then they can reverse, but in some people, they stay persistent, and those are the people we need to understand what is happening. So in terms of towards the younger age and trying to substantiate that claim, you can look at the microbiome as a tool to identify key skin microbes that are associated to skin damage within the age, but do not use them as a reference to say like, okay, I have a younger demographic, I want that microbe to be transplanted somehow to the older demographic. Because a lot of people think in that way, but is not really a healthy decision to do, so to say. So we can substantiate and claim, but we need to look at in terms of how these microbes have an effect on the health of the skin. So eventually then you can measure signs of aging, for example, with Guido's tool, combined with our technology. When I think about it, with our microbiome detection solution, with his imaging solution, we can address aging and then correlate what are the microbes that are linked to that aging. So if there's an improvement, then you can see, okay, what are the microorganisms that are linked to that improvement in that aging? And same thing happens to the kind of younger demographic. So I think it needs to be tied hand in hand. We don't want devices to purely based on the microbiome. We can show you trends and understanding, but eventually it won't be a final significant solution to the aging question. I don't know. I hope I answered somehow.
We all the attendees can contact you, Albert, if they have
sure.
more.
I don't know if Simona has other better point of view on this.
Maybe Simona, would you like to add some things, or there are also another question about how to make a difference when it is necessary to evaluate the effect of a cosmetic on longevity or on slow aging or anti-aging. What should you recommend for this?
It is a very, very good question because it is a hot topic at the moment. So anti-aging is the fighting against aging. So it is the ability to formulate products which are able to ameliorate the appearance, but also plumping and filling, just to have a better appearance during aging. While longevity and slow aging is the acceptance of aging, and so it is a kind of equilibrium, because you can formulate by trying to counteract, for example, oxidation or inflammation, and altogether cosmetics and also cosmeceuticals and also food supplements may be put together, because there is also a link between the gut, the skin. So in this vision of an holistic beauty, and the holistic beauties is also, I include also the neuropsychocosmetics, because you feel good, and maybe this psychological comfort zone is beneficial also for your skin and also your diet and so on. So from a cosmetic point of view, I think that the trick is the ability to counteract oxidation, inflammation, and maybe act on neuropsychocosmetics. And this is the key to accept aging, because unfortunately it's part of our life, but in a balanced way.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Simona, for your answer. I think the question is very very interesting. When I thought to the answer, we can also make a difference using in vitro model. I think if we test on in vitro using organoids or co-culture or explant or 3D skin model, we can select a lot of type of 3D skin model from primary cells. If we select aging cells from aging skin or from, so I think there are a lot to do in that field, and if we focus on a specific biomarkers, maybe it will be this one biomarker will be more linked to antioxidation or oxidation or inflammation, and we have also a way to modulate and wait for after 1 day, 3 days for 3D skin models. It can be until 14 days. So with this very standardized protocol on in vitro, I think you can make the difference between longevity, slow aging, and then finally I will answer the same than you said, Simona, about holistic. And if you have a good naive panel and a good approach with these three behavioral, physiological, and emotional, you can find really very tiny information about what people feel, what people in terms of longevity or anti-aging or slow aging. It's there are a lot of publications regarding this, even with mood board, and so that's there are a lot to do in that field. I think we don't have other questions. I will thank you, Albert, Guido, and Simona for your presence today. Unfortunately, Pedro Contreras from PhD Trials and Lorena from Zurco could not attend because of this energy shutdown in Spain and Portugal. But you can find, we will find their presentation in the replay. So thank you very much for your attention, for your presence, and I wish you a nice day, and see you soon.
Thank you, Anne.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.